Okay, let's dive in. Picture an era so vast it's hard to even wrap your head around, and it all comes to an end with the death of just one man. But what comes next isn't some quiet, peaceful transition. Oh no. It's a sun-scorched battle for survival, for water, and for the very idea of legacy itself. Right, so with the end of this ancient age, a brand new conflict just erupts from the dust. And this isn't just some fight over a piece of land, it's a real test of grit, of spirit, and of faith for the next generation. Their story is only just getting started. 600 years. I mean, can you even imagine living that long? That was the lifespan of Shem, Noah's son. His death isn't just the end of one incredibly long life. It's like the final page turning on a whole chapter of ancient history. That direct link to a lost world, it's gone. Forever. And get this, the timing is absolutely critical. When Shem passes away, Isaac is 110 years old, and his own son Jacob is 50. They are literally standing on the fault line between two different ages, and the weight of carrying on their entire family line, it just landed squarely on their shoulders. But our main guy, Isaac, he doesn't start this story from a position of power, not at all. A devastating famine forces him and his people out of their own land. So he enters the valley of Gerar not as a conqueror, but as a guest, really a refugee who has to rely on the kindness of its king, Abimelech. On the surface, the land seems fine, welcoming even, but there's a hidden act of sabotage just lying beneath the soil, a history that someone tried to deliberately erase. The wells that his father, Abraham, had dug, the absolute lifeblood in this dry landscape, they've been buried by their rivals, the Philistines. They filled them with dirt. Think about that. This wasn't just erosion or a well falling into disrepair over time. No, this was a conscious act of hostility. It was a message sent loud and clear. Your father's legacy here, it's over. We've buried it. So this brings us right to the heart of Isaac's problem. How do you possibly fight for a legacy that's been physically covered up? How do you unearth a history that your enemies are determined to keep buried deep in the ground? Well, Isaac doesn't raise an army. He responds with pure, defiant work. He methodically finds those old well sites, and his people start digging, tearing through all that packed-in earth. With every shovel full of dirt, he's not just reclaiming water, he's reclaiming his family's memory. And when he finds water, he gives the wells their original names back, a powerful act of restoration. But you know how it goes. Success breeds conflict. The second his men strike fresh, clean water, the local herdsmen of Gerar show up, and their challenge is blunt. No room for discussion. The water is ours. The fight is on. Isaac's response here is brilliant. It's like a masterclass in strategic naming. His weapon isn't a sword, it's words. He names the well Essek, which means perversity, basically branding their greedy behavior for all to see and marking the spot as a place of injustice. So Isaac moves on. He digs again. And what do you know? The moment they find water, this same conflict flares up with the exact same intensity. It feels like there's no escaping it. The tension just follows him wherever he finds a drop of success. So this time, he names the second well Sitna, or enmity. Now, if the first conflict was a single perverse act, this name basically declares that this is their new reality. It acknowledges this is a deep, hostile feud between them. This is the peak of the tension. And here's the core of it, really. In this harsh, dry land, you've got two groups with an equally high claim on the one resource they all need to survive. For Isaac, it's about survival and his father's legacy. For the people of Gerar, it's about protecting what they believe is theirs. It's a classic high-stakes conflict. But then, right after naming that bitter enmity, Isaac does something completely unexpected. He doesn't dig in for a third brawl. He just packs up his camp, gathers his people, and moves on. He chooses to walk away from the whole cycle of conflict. He finds a new spot. He digs again. And in this new space that he's created for himself, something incredible happens. Absolutely nothing. There's no argument, no confrontation, just the quiet, beautiful sound of water rising up from the earth, completely undisturbed. And Isaac's words just capture this overwhelming feeling of relief and victory. He says, "For now the Lord has made room for us." The real win didn't come from overpowering his rivals. It came through sheer persistence and finally finding a space where they could just be. He names this final Peaceful, well, Rehoboth. It simply means room. What a perfect name to end the struggle. It's not just about physical space to set up camp. It's about having spiritual breathing room, a place of peace, and the promise of a real future. And just as Isaac secures a future for his people right there in that valley, a totally different story of the future begins to unfold hundreds of miles away. A piece of news that will shape everything to come. A messenger arrives for Isaac's wife, Rebekah. The news is from her family way back in Haran. Her brother Laban's wife, Adinah, who had been barren, has miraculously given birth. And not just to one child, but to twin daughters. And these are two names that are going to echo through history: Leah, the older, and Rachel, the younger. So while Isaac was fighting tooth and nail for ground and water, the next generation of his family was being born, ensuring that the story would absolutely continue. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, you see this incredible cycle playing out. A legendary patriarch dies. His descendant has to fight to reclaim a buried legacy. That struggle is finally won, not with force, but with patience. And in that very moment of peace, news arrives. A new generation has been born. The line goes on. Which leaves us with this massive question, doesn't it? Isaac fought so hard for those wells, for a place in the land. But maybe the truest inheritance isn't the territory you can claim, but the future you secure for the ones who come after you. What do you think?